Well, it's great to be here to talk about perseverance and ingenuity and what the operations team has been up to this summer. And perhaps, like a lot of you folks, we've actually been on a road trip. This road trip is associated with our very first science campaign, and during it, we will take our very first sample from the surface of Mars. Go ahead and bring up my first graphic so I can give you a little bit of orientation about where we are. In this graphic, you can see the landing location, which is at the very top in the middle, where the beginning of the white line is. You can see the rover's current location, which is the blue dot, and you can see where we've been driving this summer on our road trip. The next thing that we've really been working on, probably the most since we last talked, is preparing for sampling. So I'd like to show this next video, which reminds you of our sample caching system. The purpose of our sample caching system is to acquire samples and then to transfer those through our bit carousel to the adaptive caching assembly, which is in the front of the rover. The front of the rover then has another sample handling arm, which manages those tubes and the samples inside of them to do imaging and measure the volume, and then we will seal those and store those for planned future return to Earth. So a lot of what we've been doing recently, both on Earth as well as on the vehicle, is preparing for that first sample. So we've been checking out the adaptive caching assembly, which is there in the front of the rover. One of the things that we did is we actually processed a witness tube. So we have 43 sample tubes on the rover. They're inside of the front of the rover here in this adaptive caching assembly. And 5 of those are witness tubes. The purpose of the witness tubes is exactly as they're named. They're to witness any contamination that might be present so that we can correlate that with the samples taken at the time. The specific witness tube that we actually just processed was in the bit carousel here, measuring any sort of contaminants that we have seen in the bit carousel since launch. So we extracted that with our sample handling arm, and you can go ahead and play the next video. We processed it by imaging it. So this is actually taken with a cache cam. It's a camera inside the adaptive caching assembly. It's imaging the inside of that witness tube. So inside there you see a witness tube assembly, which is what collects the contaminants. And then after we image it, we actually seal it and activate the seal. And that's what you see at the end of this video. So the great news is that all worked perfectly. And so we are ready to sample. I am very excited about getting our first sample on Mars. I think the team has done a tremendous work. I joked about it being a road trip and summer vacation. They've been working very, very hard. It hasn't really been a vacation for them. We're still working 7 days a week, but they've done the job. We're ready to go, and we expect to get that first sample within the first few weeks of August.